People have been waiting months for the State Records Committee to consider their cases to get public records that they believe they have a legal right to.
KSL Investigates Courtney Johns explains why after filing her own records request to see how bad the backlog has gotten.
The State Records Committee meets once a month for about 9 hours and on average tackles 7 to 8 appeals. At last check, they had 86 appeals waiting to be scheduled, meaning if they are able to meet in January and no one files an appeal in the meantime, it would take them about 11 months to tackle all of 2024's appeals.
They're going to have at least 2 meetings a month, if not 3, and that's not doable. You're going to wear everybody out.
Marie Cornwall spent 6 years on the State Records Committee, an unpaid position, something she says makes sense given the decisions the committee needs to make.
We're making decisions about whether or not the government should release documents. So you want us to be a volunteer force so that we're not serving any one office in government.
But this volunteer was essentially fired this summer when the Senate Business and Labor Confirmation Committee declined on approving her for another term, along with 2 other committee members.
And he just waited for 3 terms to expire so that the committee couldn't meet, and then he still didn't do anything.
The he Cornwall is referring to is Senator Bramble, chair of the committee responsible for confirming SRC appointments. He also sponsored a bill that made calendars secret, a decision the Records Committee believes should be public when they voted to release the Attorney General's calendars.
He's upset about the calendars.
Well, Bramble insisted this was not the reason. He brought up the calendars several times while grilling potential new appointees last month.
We changed the law, and that calendars now are explicitly not a public record. We changed the law this past year.
Bramble did not respond to our request for an interview, but current State Records Committee member Linda Peterson did.
We have never encountered this.
The KSL investigators looked over the past 4 years of appeals and found on average it took around 90 to 100 days for someone to get a hearing. We found people on the wait list who have already been waiting over 200 days. Peterson and Cornwall both believe the committee should be expanded so they can break off into 2 committees and tackle more cases. But they say it's hard to predict what the legislature will allow. And with Cornwall gone, Peterson says she doesn't know how much more time she has left.
They like people who tend to rubber stamp, I think. I'm not a rubber stamper.
The Senate will hold a final vote on the 3 new committee members on December 18th, which means that the committee could meet as early as January 16th.